Scarface arrived in cinemas in December 1983 and completely changed the world of movies forever, but the cast members had very different futures ahead of them. Some went on to become true legends of the industry, while others slowly faded away from the spotlight. A few of them, sadly, never even lived long enough to witness just how timeless and beloved this film would eventually become. Let's dive right into it. Number 1, we have Al Pacino, who played Tony Montana. He was 43 years old when he brought this Cuban refugee character to life on the big screen. Tony was a man who fought his way up from absolutely nothing to reach the very top of Miami's drug world using pure anger, fierce determination, and no sense of caution whatsoever. His performance was so powerful and raw that the studio was honestly worried audiences might not be ready for it. In 2026, Al Pacino is 85 years old, and his name still carries enormous weight. He has never tied the knot, but his romantic life has always been full of surprises. He had twins with actress Beverly D'Angelo during their long relationship together. Then in 2023, at 83 years old, his girlfriend Norfala, who is nearly 54 years younger than him, gave birth to their son Roman, making him a new father again at an age when most people are simply enjoying retirement. Say hello to my little friend, and apparently to my baby son too. Number 2, we have Steven Bauer, who played Manny Ray. He was only 26 years old when he stepped into the role of Tony Montana's fun-loving and clever best friend. Manny was the guy who somehow kept things light and easy even as the world around them fell completely apart, right up until the film's devastating final moments made you truly regret ever cheering for him. In 2026, Steven Bauer is 69 years old. After Scarface, he kept finding steady work in the industry, picking up a recurring role in Ray Donovan and even appearing in Breaking Bad, which introduced him to an entirely new generation of fans. His personal life grabbed headlines too, as he had previously been married to actress Melanie Griffith in the early 80s before they separated in 1987. Years later, he hit the tabloids once again when he began seeing actress Lyda Elden, who was almost 40 years younger than him. Manny Ray stayed loyal right until the bitter end, but Steven Bauer's own life had quite a few surprising twists of its own. Number 3, we have Mary Elizabeth Mast-Antonio, who played Gina Montana. She was just 24 years old when she made her very first appearance on film as Tony's younger sister. Gina was a character completely swallowed up by the destruction caused by her brother's decisions, and she was placed in some genuinely disturbing and uncomfortable scenes opposite Al Pacino that still feel heavy and emotional today. In 2026, Mary Elizabeth Mast-Antonio is 67 years old, and the career she built after Scarface turned out to be far more impressive than anyone could have guessed from a first-time actress. Within just 3 years, she received an Academy Award nomination for The Color of Money alongside Paul Newman and Tom Cruise. She then went on to appear in The Abyss, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and The Perfect Storm. She married director Pat O'Connor in 1990, and the two have remained together ever since, raising their family quietly and far away from the chaos of Hollywood. Not a bad outcome for someone whose very first film role was in one of the most controversial movies of that entire decade. Number 4, Robert Loya, who played Frank Lopez. He was 53 years old when he took on the role of the calm and sharp-minded drug boss who takes Tony Montana under his wing, treats him almost like a son, and then watches in complete shock as Tony slowly tears apart everything he spent his whole life creating. He was the kind of villain you actually felt sympathy for, simply because he placed his trust in exactly the wrong person. In 2026, Robert Loya would have been 96 years old. After Scarface, his career moved into an entirely new and exciting direction, earning him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor for Jagged Edge in 1985. He went on to appear in Prize Honor, Independence Day, and David Lynch's Lost Highway. Sadly, he was later diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and passed away on December 4, 2015, at 85 years old, leaving behind a body of work that very few supporting actors in all of Hollywood could honestly come close to matching. Frank Lopez was taken down by Tony Montana, but Robert Loya's legacy remains completely untouchable. Number 5, we have Miriam Cohen, who played Mama Montana. She was 46 years old when she took on the role of the quietly heartbroken mother who watches her son destroy himself right before her eyes. It was a smaller role in terms of screen time, but every single scene she appeared in was filled with such deep sadness and grief that it hit much harder than anyone expected. In 2026, Miriam Cohen would have been 89 years old. Born in Puerto Rico, she was already a deeply admired and respected figure in the acting world long before Scarface ever came along. Back in 1967, she founded the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater in New York City, a nonprofit organization that brought live stage performances directly to communities that had very little access to the arts for many decades, which tells you everything you need to know about who she truly was beyond the camera. Her body of work stretched all the way from One-Eyed Jacks with Marlon Brando through to television appearances well into the 2000s. She passed away on March 3, 2017 at 80 years old. Scarface was just one small chapter in what was truly a remarkable and meaningful life. Number 6. We have F. Murray Abraham, who played Omar Suarez. He was 43 years old when he took on the role of Tony's double-crossing fixer, a man who meets one of the most memorable and shocking ends in the entire film. At that point in his life, he was a well-regarded working actor with solid respect within the industry, but was nowhere near being a widely recognized name. In 2026, F. Murray Abraham is 86 years old, and what his career became in the years following Scarface is honestly difficult to believe. Just 1 year later, he starred in Amadeus as the deeply troubled composer Antonio Salieri, giving a performance so careful and emotionally crushing that it won him the Academy Award for Best Actor. It remains one of the most celebrated acting performances of that entire decade. He never stopped working, appearing in Homeland and more recently winning over a fresh wave of fans in HBO's The White Lotus. And perhaps most remarkably of all, he has been married to his wife, Kate Hannon, since 1959, which means over 65 years together in Hollywood, and that is basically nothing short of a miracle. Number 7. Paul Shanar, who played Alejandro Sosa. He was 47 years old when he portrayed the Bolivian drug lord, who forms a partnership with Tony Montana before quietly and calmly arranging for his death. What made this character so deeply unsettling was that he never once raised his voice or lost his cool. He simply smiled and got the job done without any drama at all. In 2026, Paul Shanar would have been 90 years old. After Scarface, he continued working in the industry, appearing opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger in Raw Deal in 1986, and building what looked like a long and bright career still ahead of him. Tragically, he never got the chance to see just how legendary and celebrated this film would one day become. He passed away on October 11, 1989, at just 53 years old, from complications related to AIDS, during a heartbreaking era when the disease was taking the lives of an entire generation of talented people within the entertainment world. Sosa was the calmest and most dangerous villain in the room, and Paul Shanar remains one of the most underappreciated actors of his entire generation. Number 8. We have Harris Yulon, who played Bernstein. He was 45 years old when he took on the role of the dishonest Miami detective who uses the power of his badge as a personal weapon rather than a tool to serve and protect people. He collected dirty money from the drug world while pretending to stand on the right side of the law, and he was exactly the kind of character that makes you deeply uncomfortable because the authority he was abusing was supposed to keep people safe. In 2026, Harris Yulon is 88 years old. After Scarface, his career stayed impressively active across both film and television, with appearances in Ghostbusters 2, Clear and Present Danger, and a strong television presence with roles in 24, Frasier, and Homeland. On the stage, he earned serious recognition on Broadway over many years, proving that his abilities went far beyond playing corrupt law enforcement officers. Throughout his entire career, Yulon kept his personal life intensely guarded, rarely talking about relationships or family in public interviews, and simply letting his performances do all the speaking across more than 5 productive decades in the business. Bernstein was dishonest to his very core, but Harris Yulon earned nothing but genuine respect throughout his career. Number 9. Angel Salazar, who played Chi-Chi. He was 27 years old when he stepped into the role of Tony Montana's dependable and always present sidekick, the guy who never once left his boss's side through the entire rise and catastrophic collapse of his empire. It was not the flashiest role in the film by any means, but it gave the group surrounding Tony a real and believable sense of street-level loyalty and authenticity that grounded the story. In 2026, Angel Salazar is 70 years old. Born in Cuba and raised in New York City, Salazar had actually been working as a stand-up comedian before acting came into his life. And that background in comedy gave Chi-Chi a natural ease and looseness that worked perfectly alongside Tony's explosive intensity on screen. After Scarface, he kept touring as a stand-up comedian and picked up smaller film and television roles over the following years, never quite landing another character as iconic as Chi-Chi, but always staying connected to the world of entertainment. He has spoken about Scarface with tremendous pride in various interviews, saying the film was the single moment that changed the entire direction of his life. Chi-Chi was always ready for whatever came next, and Angel Salazar never forgot where his journey truly began. Number 10, we have Arnaldo Santana, who played Ernie. He played Ernie, one of Tony's trusted and reliable crew members who stays close throughout the entire film, a supporting presence that helped make Tony's inner circle feel genuine and lived in rather than simply filler in the background. Arnaldo Santana was a Cuban-American actor who brought a natural and authentic energy to the character that fits seamlessly into the world that Brian De Palma was carefully constructing on screen. After Scarface, Santana continued finding work in film and television in smaller supporting roles, appearing in various productions through the late 1980s and into the 1990s. He has remained largely away from public view over the decades since, rarely sitting down for interviews or showing up at Scarface anniversary events or cast reunions. Public details about his personal life, including any relationships or family, have been very hard to come by, as he stepped well away from the spotlight long after his time in Hollywood came to a close. Not every person who works in film chases ongoing fame and recognition, and Arnaldo Santana seemed genuinely at peace, building a quiet and private life far from the cameras. Number 11, we have Pepe Serna, who played Angel. He was 39 years old when he brought Angel to life on screen, one of the film's most unforgettable early victims whose horrifying death in that hotel bathroom becomes the moment within the first 30 minutes of the film that tells the audience exactly what kind of story they are watching. It sets the whole tone of the movie in one single stomach-dropping sequence that leaves a lasting mark. In 2026, Pepe Serna is 82 years old. Born in Laredo, Texas, Serna quietly built one of the most impressive careers of any character actor from his generation, appearing in over 100 different film and television projects across 5 full decades of work. He showed up in Scarface, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, and a large number of television productions, becoming one of those familiar faces that audiences always recognized even when they could not quite remember the name. Throughout his career, he has been a strong and vocal supporter of better Latino representation in Hollywood, speaking openly about the obstacles he had to push through in order to build the body of work he has. Angel barely survived past the first act of the film, but Pepe Serna managed to last and thrive in Hollywood for many decades after. Number 12, we have Al Israel, who played Hector the Toad. He played Hector the Toad, the cold-blooded and terrifying cartel enforcer who turns what should have been a simple drug transaction into an absolute chainsaw nightmare in one of the most shocking and disturbing scenes in the entire film. It was a sequence so violent and brutal that it became one of the most widely discussed moments in the history of cinema and played a big part in giving Scarface its deeply controversial reputation. Al Israel was in his late 20s when he stepped into the role, playing a character that required real and believable menace in a very short window of screen time, and he delivered every bit of it convincingly. After Scarface, he kept appearing in film and television throughout the 1980s and 1990s, taking on supporting roles across different productions while mostly staying away from the Hollywood spotlight. Like a number of the supporting players from this film, Israel has kept his personal life very much to himself over the years, with very little public information available about anything beyond his list of acting credits. Hector the Toad was only on screen for a matter of minutes, but not a single person who has ever watched Scarface has forgotten him. Number 13, we have Mark Margolis, who played Shadow. He was 43 years old when he took on the role of Shadow, Sousa's devoted and quietly threatening enforcer who observes everything from a distance and speaks very little throughout the film. He was exactly the kind of presence that you feel hanging over a scene even when he is barely visible on screen. In 2026, Mark Margolis would have been 86 years old. After Scarface, his career only became stronger and more celebrated as the years went on, and he became genuinely beloved by a completely new generation of viewers when he played Hector Salamanca in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. That role earned him an Emmy nomination and reminded the entire entertainment industry just how extraordinary a performer could be when working almost entirely without words. He also appeared in Darren Aronofsky's Pi and Requiem for a Dream, building a truly fascinating body of work across many decades of performing. Margolis passed away on August 3, 2023 at 83 years old, and heartfelt tributes came pouring in from all across the industry. Shadow barely uttered a word in Scarface, but Mark Margolis made absolutely certain that the world heard him loud and clear. Number 14, Michelle Pfeiffer, who played Elvira. She was just 25 years old when she stepped onto the screen as Elvira Hancock, Tony Montana's ice-cold, cocaine-dusted trophy wife who was slowly suffocating inside the golden cage of the empire he had constructed around her. She was a woman surrounded by wealth and luxury on the outside, but completely empty and hollow behind the eyes. And what made the performance so magnetic and compelling was that Pfeiffer played her without a single moment of looking for the audience's sympathy, just sharp, distant, and strikingly beautiful in the most heartbreaking way. In 2026, Michelle Pfeiffer is 68 years old, and she is genuinely regarded as one of the most respected and admired actresses of her entire generation. After Scarface, she delivered one iconic performance after another, starring in The Witches of Eastwick, Dangerous Liaisons, The Fabulous Baker Boys, and Batman Returns as Catwoman, a role that fans are still talking about enthusiastically decades down the line. She married television producer David E. Kelley in 1993, and the two have remained together ever since, raising their family largely away from tabloid drama and gossip in a way that feels almost radical for someone carrying her level of fame and public recognition. Elvira told Tony she had nothing left to do, and Michelle Pfeiffer went on to go ahead and do absolutely everything.